everyone, how's it going? J.R. Fox here. Thank you for joining me today for another art lesson. Today, I want to share how I paint clouds. I love painting clouds. I would say that when it comes to going outside, going on hikes and being in nature, nothing catches my attention as often as clouds do. The reason for that is they are never the same, and even if they were, if you look at it in the morning, it's gonna look a lot different from how you look at it in the afternoon. Then of course, clouds during sunset can be really pretty and really awesome. So what I want to talk about today will apply to you even if you're doing digital art and whatnot, or painting with acrylic. So just keep that in mind, and let's dive straight into how to paint clouds. All right, the first thing you need to think about, and what you really have to decide, is what time your scene is taking place in, right? Because the location of your light source, the sun, is going to be different at different times during the day. So, as the sun sets and you have the sun on the horizon, you're going to have a lot of things in the atmosphere distorting the color of the light. And that's, sadly, pollution and other things in the air are what cause our pretty sunsets. Little particles in the air change how we perceive the light from the sun when it's just barely on the horizon. That's why it can look orange and purple sometimes. And that's also what, will give us like a blood moon. And so knowing that the sun in the morning, it's going to make clouds look much more colorful in the morning and in the evening than they would at midday or noon. Let's go ahead and look at some pictures of clouds together from pexel.com. I love this website. I use it all the time. As you can see here, because the sun is, lower in the shot, this is a sunrise or a sunset, gives us these awesome clouds with this color. But let's compare that to what clouds would look like, in the middle of the day. Very different, right? So the color is what we're talking about now. If you have like minimal cloud cover and it's the middle of the day, notice how the colors are almost all in grayscale. We don't really have a lot of color, in other words. And then if you compare that to the picture we were just looking at over here, wow, we get a lot more color and a lot more extreme values as well. Our darks are really dark in some of these clouds, and while the lights are still like pretty darn light. Let's look at another sunset picture. Here we go. This is nice. Once again, we can really see that we've really gotten a lot darker with our values when we compare that to here. Even the dark areas of these clouds here and what would be the shadows of these clouds aren't even getting close to the darks that we have in this image here. So not only does the time of day determine the amount of chroma or saturation of your colors, but it also has an influence over the values of the colors. So if you are painting from imagination, right, and you want to paint clouds, I would say, hey, well, if you want to paint clouds in daytime, maybe don't include a whole lot of color in those clouds. Keep the colors limited to a small value range, pretty high, like maybe somewhere in the 1 and 5 value range. And hue-wise, maybe you don't really need to go into the warm colors, and you can just stick to a desaturated blue. Now, let's say you're painting from imagination and you do want to have like a sunset, then it's time to like throw in some more color, crank up the saturation, have some bold color use in some places. Finally, when you think about the light source too, right here, we can see that the sun is somewhere behind these clouds on the bottom left, which has created this ring of fire, this like ring of warm light around some of these clouds here. Now compare that to where the light is coming from in this one. Here we can see, the light is stronger on the left and not so much on the right. We have more shadows on the right. So when painting clouds, you have to think about the form of the clouds like you would with any other object, right? And you gotta think about where the light source is. Gotta think of, where the area that is getting hit most by light, and then where it is the area of that form where it's no longer being hit by light. These are all different things that will make your job as an artist painting from imagination easier if you can decide them beforehand and keep it unified with everything else in your picture. What I notice often happens with beginner artists is a lot of those kinds of people will take references from a bunch of different places and kind of haphazardly composite them in the same image, and you'll have clouds with a light source here, but then like the character's head doesn't use the same light source, so you have light coming from a different direction. It's something that you have to like watch out for if you are painting highly realistic clouds. As an oil painter who paints in realism, I prioritize how real I want the clouds to look. I end up relying and using photographs and other reference material a lot. And when that is the case, you tend to approach painting entirely differently from someone who is painting from imagination or intuition. The most important thing, this goes with anyone who's doing realism, regardless of the type of paint or, you know, the medium, is capturing and matching colors correctly. When I started out painting, I put a lot of focus onto the contour of what I would draw or paint, and I was really kind of afraid of using color. But however, if you really want to give someone the impression that what they're looking at is a cloud or is anything for that matter, and you're painting in realism, then I feel like the biggest priority you need to make is put the right color, in other words, the right value, the right hue, and the right saturation level in the right spot. And so in other words, that means that when I'm painting clouds, I'm not thinking about painting a cloud. The thought never comes to my mind, I'm gonna make this a cloud. I'm gonna paint cloud texture. Like, it's really just what color needs to go in this spot, and did I do it correctly, and what needs to change. Now, I wanna demonstrate what that looks like when I'm actually painting. How do I check my colors, and how do I place them? So I've been working on a landscape of a lighthouse for a good friend of mine. I just put in some background behind the clouds. I've done a couple of clouds on this right side here, as you can see. But from here on out, I'm going to be adding clouds all throughout this area. And I want you just to see how, like, the thing I'm really thinking about this whole time is what's the color I'm seeing and how does it transition to the colors around it. And I constantly am checking the paint that I'm mixing with my reference image to make sure it's correct before I put it on my painting surface. And yeah, without over explaining things, let's go ahead and let you just watch me do it. Well, I hope you all found that useful and entertaining. Thank you so much for watching. I don't always have the opportunity to do a landscape like this, so this was a lot of fun. But if you want to see kind of more of my work and what I do, my website's down below. It'll give you, there's a link down there as well to my Etsy page where you can purchase prints or even original works of art. If you want to help support this channel, I do have a Patreon, links below. You can get a discount on the things in my Etsy shop if you sign up for that. And if you found this video helpful and feel like you learned something useful, let me know in the comments what it was, and maybe, you know, give it a like and a subscribe. That'd be really cool. Hey, it's always fun teaching you. I hope that you all enjoyed it. Take care. We'll see you in the next one.